quality and character of the leader that ultimately determines the performance, the results. I first learned of Frances at my beloved University of Pittsburgh. I can't even look at my family, I can't look at that family either. In 1999, I was handed Hesselbein on Leadership, the very first book, leadership book, that had a woman's face on the cover, Frances Hesselbein's face, and it spoke to me. I had just run for student government president. My first leadership role, I thought, it had a title, but what did Frances's book teach me? You don't need to have a title to be a leader. I moved to New York City in 2005, and there was this wonderful PIT event where I finally got to meet Frances in person. And that first handheld shake, she didn't shake your hand, she held it and just moved it. I was with Chancellor Mark Nordenberg of Pittsburgh and my beloved Pitt family. Frances in real life was even better than on paper. So through Teresa, I booked many follow-up lunches and spent so much time with her until a couple years later she asked me to join her Leader to Leader board. The mission spoke to me. The people were extraordinary. From there, our adventures began, whether it was in Chicago at a women's conference, giving out a community award in her honor, or dinner at the Easton Pomfret Club, raise your hand if you've been there. Visits to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point to visit the amazing Colonel Diane Ryan with a new class of cadets, to Washington, D.C. to have tea at the Willard, or an unforgettable dinner in the upstairs private room of Mr. K's with Her Majesty Queen Rania Al Abdullah, another extraordinary ally in our mission to educate and empower girls and women. Or just huddled around my favorite place in the world at Tansky Lounge at the University of Pittsburgh, a shared alma mater with students. The people that engaged in Frances' circle, you, are nothing short of spectacular. Diverse in industry, in background, but all united with Frances. Our board, as Teresa mentioned, led the transition from the Peter F. Drucker Foundation to the Leader to Leader Institute, to then, although she fought us every step of the way, the Frances Hesselbein Leadership Institute. There are so many amazing programs, Generals in Transition, the Global Dialogue Center with Debbie Kennedy, the annual holiday reception here in this room, and also our annual fundraiser, the Leader of the Future Dinner, where we honored the greats like the amazing General Shinseki and its even greater extraordinary wife, GE, General Electric's Beth Comstock, the Marshall Goldsmith, of course. And this special evening when we honored Alan Mulally, who at the time the dinner started was the CEO of Boeing, only hours later to be announced that he was the CEO of Ford Motor Company. I'll never forget how he, like Frances, engaged in a conversation with me about my grandfather in this very room, and he asked me to share his address in Philadelphia. Days later, a handwritten letter came to my grandparents' home with the Ford mementos. How to be. In 2015, Frances and our Leader to Leader Institute, we launched a new revision of Peter Drucker's classic, The 5 Most Important Questions. Frances shepherded my idea of featuring young millennial leaders with such enthusiasm and confidence. She always believed in the next generation's voice and power. In 2016, we reconnected with Richard Straub and his wife Ilsa for the Global Drucker Forum, and I was able to serve as a judge in the global essay competition with another friend of Frances, Elizabeth Edersheim. So it's no surprise that the universe planted my family in Vienna over the holidays during Frances's memorial. We know that both Frances and Peter's spirit were together. There were so many instrumental moments where Frances taught us firsthand how to be, whether as a board member, your attention to detail or constructive dissent, because we know her grace was always her most powerful strategic position, or being present with a group of young leaders eager to be seen and heard, and through her words, they realized that they had the potential to change the world. Those instrumental moments were only surpassed by the most intimate ones. Frances and I happened to be having dinner the day after Alex proposed, And I remember floating into the restaurant with her giddy to order, lots of Prosecco. This time I insisted we order the good stuff, champagne. She was there from my bridal shower in Pennsylvania to our wedding in New York City, sitting right there with our dear Pitt family. She was one of the first to say hello to both Addison and Juliet growing in my belly, and of course first in line to buy their Girl Scout cookies. My Daisy here is ready and selling. I also remember running through the airport in search of Francis's beloved McDonald's Happy Meals, cheeseburger, fries, but skip the apple slices. We're sitting at our neighborhood favorite, Cafe Luke on the Upper East Side, where my 3-year-old daughter watched with wide eyes as Francis would reapply that red lipstick in that silver Clinique cylinder and then passed it to her, of which she drew all over her chin. We had many, many meals in Mutual of America, this very building, Tony's. Addison was practically an expert at the soft-serve ice cream machine, which somehow worked at 9 a.m. even for breakfast, and gave her little sister her first taste, Juliet. Her impeccable style. Every time I wear animal print, and my daughters do, we think of her, how she'd stun in even a tracksuit with a Ferragamo animal print scarf, thanks to the Kirschners. This past Monday, I spent time with Dr. Mark Brackett, who runs the Yale Center of Emotional Intelligence. I became exposed to his work through my girls and their elementary school, which is committed to helping children learn emotional regulation. One of the most significant findings focuses on the power of having a person in your life who truly cares about your feelings and gives you the permission to feel. It's one of the greatest paradoxes of the human condition. We ask, how are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? We ask it over and over again, which would lead you to believe that we actually care, that there's some significance or importance. Yet, we never expect, desire, or honestly even provide an honest answer. And expressing emotions is so important, but it's become this tug of war, wrangling them, particularly in the last couple of years. But there's power in emotions, because emotions largely determine actions. Actions that Francis, most of all, believed in. They create a healthier, equitable, compassionate, innovative society, community, even home life. If you are in this room, and Kenyon said it, if you were in St. Bart's today, or Johnstown last month, or Easton next month, you had at least one moment with Francis where you felt you were the only person in the room. You felt her full attention, the depth of her inspiration through her stories, and how genuinely she asked you, how are you feeling? Let us all take that how to be, that emotional presence inspired by the strong, enduring light that Francis shined into all of our daily lives. In every day, in every possible moment, we could just be truly present for someone who deserves the permission to feel and just the permission to be. I thank you, Francis.